No Cole Bradley today. Unfortunately, he's returning from the Rose Bowl at Pasadena, where he was there to cover, or no, he was just attending the game as a fan at Arizona State's win over the UCLA Bruins. ASU football is back in the AP poll. We are all proud Sun Devils here. Great win last night, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Golden Sombrero Show, we talk about baseball. And baseball's regular season came to an end today, Ryan. It was a very exciting ending to the regular season. Unfortunately, a lot of baseball fans wanted chaos, and that's not what we're going to get as the playoffs. There's going to be no tiebreakers. The playoff field is already set.
Depressing.
There are worse things. It's going to make my Monday afternoon a lot easier.
Yeah, it will, but also it's just depressing because, well, for both of us, because both of our teams are their seasons are done. So it's always a depressing day. But, there's always next year.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a lot of my lifetime. So
there's always next year.
Yeah, Padres, they finished with a losing record. Your Royals only finished 5 games behind the Padres, which all things considered isn't that bad.
Here's the thing. I said at the beginning of the year, Royals 75 to 80 wins. I was 1 win off from my correct prediction. So, team just needs some pitching, honestly.
A lot
of pitching, yes.
But you know what? The offense is there. I think you saw flashes of some of the pitching this year. Keller, he definitely got a lot better as the season went on.
The 3 that I loved, especially in the second half, you have to look at Carlos Hernandez, Daniel Lynch, and Chris Bubich. Those guys really performed well in the second half of the season. But Singer and Keller got to show some improvement next year because that's probably going to be the starting 5 as of right now. Minor could get traded or he'll be moved to the bullpen. I would not mind him being in the bullpen. And then Coar is just a mess. I just put him in the bullpen as long relief. But they have some arms in the bullpen with Stalmont and Barlow and Jake Brents. I was thinking Hentz, but no, Jake Brents. Those 3 arms are solid in the bullpen that I'm happy with. They just need to get that settled down as the bullpen, solidify that starting rotation, even though I'm pretty sure it's set. And then bring up the 3, MJ Melendez, Bobby Witt Jr., and Nick Prado. It's time. Trade Santana, get rid of him. He's been horrible in the second half. So, time to move on.
You want to do a Hosmer-Santana trade swap?
If you include $100 million to pay the rest of his contract.
It's a little less than $100 million now.
Fine, $80 million.
No, that doesn't really benefit either team. So,
exactly.
That was more of a joke. But yeah, Nick Prado is definitely in the future at first base.
Yeah.
For the San Diego for the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City Royals.
That's what I thought.
I misspoke there. I apologize. I don't know what the future holds for the Padres at first base. I hope it's Jake Cronenworth and maybe Ha-Sung Kim and Adam Frazier can play at second base next year. You can move Kim.
A really good infield with Cronenworth.
It is a really good infield.
Frazier and Kim switching out at second base, and you can always put Frazier in the outfield. The myth, the legend, Tatis at short, and then Machado at third. That's a really good, really good infield. I like that.
Yeah, and with Tommy Pham leaving in free agency, left field's open.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about? I heard they're going to want to re-sign him. Give him a huge deal.
Gosh. I mean, he said he's gonna look at a 1-year deal to try and reset his market, which I think is a very smart thing for Tommy Pham to do. Yeah. He's a very smart player. He knows where he lies. He's very heavily analytical. So he'll probably make some team happy. Definitely a good veteran presence. This was team performance-wise his worst season in the major leagues. And the Padres went 79-83, which isn't, in the grand scheme of things, horrible, considering what the Padres' expectations were. It's really bad, but he's a winner. That's what he does. He's a good culture guy. It just didn't really mesh well with the Padres' young personalities, which...
And I know it's a depressing trade for you, losing your boy Hunter Renfroe. I know.
Yeah, and especially the way he's played in Boston this year. He's going to be playing in the playoffs, which we will now talk about. The wild card pictures, they all unfolded. We already discussed the National League last week. The Cardinals, they obviously got that second spot. But the Dodgers, they ended up winning 106 games. And their postseason performance is going to be put right on the line right away on Wednesday when they face off. Wednesday afternoon. That's going to be an electric game. I mean, you're talking about 2 of the blue bloods of National League Baseball.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The fact that it took a historical season from the Giants to dethrone the Dodgers from the NL West just shows how dominant that team is. The Dodgers, they had a tough last 3 games. Came away with a sweep of the Brewers, but the Giants just get it done. The Padres made it very interesting yesterday by beating them, but got to give credit to the Giants. Logan Webb might have hit the last home run ever by a pitcher, but we don't know.
And it was, of course, led up by the Padres, which isn't a shocking turn of events at all, it would be fitting. So I wouldn't mind that. Obviously, I was someone who was pro, pitchers hitting. You like the strategy, the double switches. You don't see that in American League Baseball. But after watching no pitchers hit in 2020, I'm like, okay, I'm in the wrong here. I've joined the pro DH, but I think it should be universal on both sides, no matter which one they choose. And I think that baseball is going to go to a full-time DH after the collective bargaining agreement, which we're going to talk about that once the playoffs end.
Yeah.
Because we're obviously on Golden Sombrero. We're going to come to you every single Sunday night for the rest of the school year until we head back in early December. We're going to have stuff to talk about. The collective bargaining agreement between Major League Baseball and the owners and the Major League Players Association expires on December 1st. So they're going to need to come to a new agreement before then. Otherwise, we might see a strike. Or the players, they just can't play for the owners, and the owners also can't make any money. But like I said, we'll talk about that later. American League wildcard, it unfolded. The Red Sox and the Yankees, they're going to be the two teams in the American League wildcard game. It would basically be a game 163. So if you aren't a fan of the current wildcard setup, it literally doesn't matter because it's playing out how it did prior to 2012 or 2013 when they introduced this new format. I think it was 13. But
yeah, it was 13, I believe.
The Yankees and the Red Sox had the same record. The Red Sox won the season series over the New York Yankees, so they will get to host that game on Tuesday. The first playoff game back with fans at full capacity since 2019 is Yankees-Red Sox, the greatest rivalry in Major League Baseball and probably a top two rivalry in American sports.
What do you think is the top rivalry?
It's probably Bears-Packers. It hasn't been of late, but that rivalry is
It's tough. It's tough because recently you haven't seen the Yankees and the Red Sox be great at the same time and really face off in the playoffs.
In 2018, Red Sox beat them.
Well, I'm talking about like as a whole over the past decade or so. You saw them in 2018.
Yankees, both those teams won 100 games that year.
I know, but as more than once. You would look at the history of these teams. You would expect it more than once over the past decade.
Yeah, this decade hasn't been as kind to the Yankees as it had been.
Yeah,
obviously for as long as Major League Baseball has existed, but I do think that it's probably number two in American sports. We're not here to talk about that. I mean, off the bat, you're getting the best rivalry in baseball history. That's undisputable.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great game. Garrett Cole's probably going to go on the mound for the Yankees. The $340 million pitcher. He's going to get tested right away. And the Red Sox are probably going to pitch out Nathan Eovaldi, who, according to just about every stat, over the full season has been their best pitcher. Chris Sale, over the last month and a half since he returned from Tommy John surgery, has been their best pitcher. But both teams are going to have their best guys on the mound, which is exactly what you want.
Yeah. There is some speculation, though, with the Red Sox because you did see them only let Sale go 2.1 innings. But, again, we talked about this on the way here, that really doesn't matter. They're going to go with Eovaldi because you said this will be the third time Sale's pitched in a week, and I don't think they want to do that. They want to keep him healthy and ready in case they do move on. But if it's in a dire situation, I think they would bring him in. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be Cole for sure against Eovaldi. And I think that it's going to be a great matchup. Two very offensive-minded teams are going to be going at it.
Yeah, I think that game has a chance to be a historic wild card game. Obviously, you were in attendance at arguably the most historic wild card game, the one that went into extras.
Correction. The most historic. The best.
And there's been some really good wild card games.
What beats the Royals A's?
I don't think there is one, but I said one of. It's my job to present that there are other options. Not the last wild card game, but the second to last one. I just got my Snapchat memories from 2 years ago when the Milwaukee Brewers and the Washington Nationals faced off. I mean, that was an all-time classic.
And hold on, who made the air? He's now a Padre, right?
He is, Trent Grisham. He also won a Gold Glove last year. So if you want to talk about that, he was a top 5 center fielder in baseball in 2020. He was not that in 2021, and that was part of the reason why the Padres weren't as good.
But he was also on and off the IL.
Yes, so exactly.
That has an impact.
I hope you're right, and that's why I keep telling myself I believe that. But that's not important. The Giants Pirates wildcard games have been really good. Cubs Pirates when Jake Arrieta was coming off his historic second half in his Cy Young campaign. Mets Giants when it was shut out through 8. Syndergaard gets pulled for Julius Familia, who had one of the best seasons of any closer in the past decade. He allows a 3-run home run to Connor Gillespie of all people. There are some really good wildcard games, but Royals A's, it definitely stands out
Would you
as
like
one of the
me to
best.
summarize the Royals?
Well, I mean, they came back after being down.
7-3.
Yeah.
Then Salvi cemented himself in history. Down the line, past Donaldson. I lost my voice for a week after that game.
Yeah, it was an incredible game. I definitely remember watching it, and that was a long time ago, back in 2014. So
Yes, it was.
it
Makes me feel a little bit old.
I'm not at that point yet. So
You don't have gray hairs yet. I do.
well, that's
I know it's very concerning.
yes.
Any-
You go through a lot of stress, especially with your Chiefs.
Chiefs, Royals, school, everything.
Yeah, school's been a lot. Midterms this week for us, but
Oh,
we're getting through it.
Yeah, and if you have an A session class, you got a final.
Yes, I do. I do have finals, but not too concerned on that front.
Classes just like to really kick us.
Yes. Anyways, your wildcard games, we've already discussed them.
Yep.
Reds, Yankees on Tuesday, then Dodgers, Cardinals on Wednesday. But the teams that just barely missed out, the Mariners and the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Blue Jays missed out by a game. Mariners, they ended up losing on Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
It didn't matter because they were going to be a game out even if they won.
Yeah.
But those two teams just barely missed out. Those were two of the teams that a lot of people were talking about could ascend as non-playoff teams in years prior into a playoff team this year.
Yeah.
They were right there, really young cores. I'm really excited to watch these teams continue to grow as their futures mold.
I'm super excited for the future, especially for the Blue Jays, because you saw Vladdy, what a season he had. It's sad that he's not going to win MVP. And then alongside Bo Bichette, they got Barrios Ryu, who really hadn't been pitching well this year. They've got George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez, such a young core there that I think is really going to be a force in the AL East for years to come. And then you also got to look at, excuse me, my computer is low on battery, so I'm focused on that. But
Marcus Semien and Robbie Ray are free agents, though.
Which one do they pick? Which one do they pick is my question for you.
I think you got to go with Robbie Ray here. I think Marcus Semien is probably the better player, but Marcus Semien is going to be an MVP finalist. He's probably going to finish third place in American League voting. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Salvi.
No. I would vote for Semien over.
I swear, if Salvi is not a finalist, I will blow my top and go crazy.
Do you want to put a little friendly wager on this, Ryan?
Yes, I do.
I'll let you set the terms. Nothing inappropriate. We are on BlazeRadioOnline.com. We're on the Blaze airwaves representing Arizona State University and the Walter Cronkite School. So let's keep
friendly
this
wager here. What are you thinking?
I'm not going to buy any one of these guys' jerseys. You know what? Actually, here's the wager.
I'm here.
If Salvador, because do you have a Salvador Perez jersey? You don't, right?
I have one of the gold ones.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes, I do.
Well, because I know that if you want MVP, I knew that I'd buy you a jersey.
Yes.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if he's a finalist, I'll get you one.
Okay.
If he's not, you need to get me a Jake Cronenworth jersey because friends of mine, which I assume they're not listening to the show, they promised me they'd give me a Jake Cronenworth jersey. That didn't go through. I don't know why I put my trust in those guys to give me a Jake Cronenworth jersey.
You know what? I'll make that deal.
There's our deal. You heard it here first on the Golden Sparrow Show.
You know what? Actually, I take that back. Don't do Salvi because
all right,
I already have Salvi.
Okay.
Do Andrew Benintendi because I don't have a Benintendi.
But what if he's not a Royal? Then I'm going to feel like a loser.
No, he's going to be a Royal. Do not put that thought out there.
Okay, fine.
Benintendi. Don't ever put that thought out there.
Okay.
That's going to scare me.
Anyways, the deal is whichever one, because it's going to be Ohtani and then Vlad, 1, 2. And then if neither of them 3, it's just a wash.
Yep. Deal.
I can't imagine any one of those guys isn't. I can't imagine anyone's in front. I mean, maybe Aaron Judge. Maybe. But I mean, I'd love that because I'm as big of an Aaron Judge stan as there is. But there's our deal. But
all right, I forgot my backpack out in the other room. I'll be right back.
All right, so I'll talk about the rest of the division rundowns. So basically, regular season, it's come to a close. The Giants, they finished with the best record in baseball. Who would have thought? They had 107 wins and only 55 losses. Just a truly historic season. They're only given a 0.2% chance to have the best record in baseball. They accomplished that. Truly incredible for them. Dodgers, they then had the second best record in Major League Baseball. Looking at it, the Tampa Bay Rays, they finished with the best record in the American League. So the American League is going to run through the trop. They did get their 100th win on Saturday before losing on Sunday to the Yankees. So that way they clinched getting into the playoffs. 162. I mean, considering the Tampa Bay Rays payroll, that's truly incredible. Then you look at it, the next highest team in terms of records, the Houston Astros and the Milwaukee Brewers both went 95 and 67. respectively. They're the number 2 seeds in their divisions, have 2 different styles of winning baseball. I think that those 2 teams could very well be represented in
So dumb.
the World Series. Yes,
I kind of forgot my computer charger in your apartment.
you did.
Do you by chance have yours?
I do, but my computer's also going to die soon.
Oh, wow. We are in quite the pickle right now, aren't we?
Well, because my computer it has a battery problem right now, and if it's not on the charger for about 45 minutes, it just crashes.
We're in a pickle now, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Anyways, I'll turn down my brightness and delay this inevitable as long as possible, because I can also operate without the computer in a little bit. But 3 seeds in each of these respective leagues. You got the Chicago White Sox at 93 and 69. Were heavy favorites to win the American League entering the season. Considering everything that happened in that division, I'd say they kind of had a little bit of a disappointing season. Did suffer a lot of injuries early on in the year, so they are still in there. And the Atlanta Braves, talk about a team that suffered a lot of injuries as the season went on. They were able to go 88 and 73.
Yep.
They did not play 162 games. Forget which team. It was the Rockies.
Was it the Rockies?
Yes,
okay.
The Rockies. They one of their games got canceled, and given the fact that the Rockies draft position, the Rockies draft position was affected, and then it was just given that the Braves postseason alignment, it didn't affect that at all. So that was the difference.
Okay, Dom.
In there. Yes.
I'm going to leave the broadcast studio on my computer and join it on my phone. I'll be back on StreamYard, people.
Well, but doesn't that mean that the StreamYard's going to end?
No, because I'm going to leave the studio, which will make you the host.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I got to let you in?
Probably, yes.
Okay, I'll figure that out.
Okay.
But baseball, back to baseball. And we'll go to a commercial break here shortly on the Golden Sombrero Show on BlazeRadioOnline.com. Dominic Stern joined by Ryan Blank. No Cole Bradley as he's returning from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. He was there as a fan as Arizona State was able to knock off the UCLA Bruins and get back into the AP Top 25. Ryan, I mean, you look at it, do you think that these top seeds are going to be able to run away with it, or do you think that some of the dark horses such as the Brewers, the Braves, the Astros, and the White Sox are going to be able to make a run at some of these pennants? We'll be back in 1 minute when we come to break down each series, including the wildcard games. You're listening to the Golden Sombrero Show on BlazeRadioOnline.com.
Hey, this is Smoke Season.
You're listening to Blaze Radio.
Are you interested in sports talk radio? If so, the 4-3 Show on Blaze Radio is the show for you.
On the 4-3 Show, we discuss NFL football,
College football, NBA basketball,
Are you trying to get in here?
basketball.
You can listen to Ryan Blank, Parker Dunn, Donald Stern, and Patrick Fortuna right here on BlazeRadioOnline.com.
Welcome back to BlazeRadioOnline.com. We're still trying to figure out how to get Ryan back into the stream on YouTube. Once again, you can watch us on YouTube on Ryan Blank's YouTube page. It's Golden Sombrero Show. It's very easy to find. But anyways, we talked about it. The wild card schedule. It's going to start on Tuesday with Yankees at Red Sox, one of baseball's most historic rivalries. I think it's going to be a great game, Ryan. I know that you're going away, but the projected pitching matchup, which we haven't received yet, is going to be Garrett Cole and Nathan Eovaldi, two teams' most respective best pitchers so far on the season. It's going to be on ESPN. It's going to start at 8 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be a late start on the East Coast, but I think that those fans are going to be up to watch it. And we all know one playoff game is last longer because the commercial breaks are longer. But Yankee, Red Sox, Boston Red Sox games, they go long no matter what. So it's going to be a long, hard-fought baseball game, and I think it's going to come down to the wire.
offense to come through and really be the dominating factor throughout this one.
Ryan's back on our stream in case anyone was trying to watch on YouTube. You can find us, the Golden Sombrero Show, playoff preview, or on Ryan Blank's YouTube page. Yeah, it's going to be a great game. Two of the most historic teams in baseball. I can't wait to watch it. Who do you think is going to win?
It's so tough. It really is, but I'm really going to have to go with the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to do it. Actually, I don't, because Pat likes to pick against my Chiefs all the time. So, no. Give me the Yankees, and I'll happily take them. I think the offense is just going to be able to really put up a lot of runs and be the difference in this one. I think Garrett Cole's going to be able to go about 6 innings and really shut down that Red Sox offense a little bit, maybe hold them to 2 or 3 runs. So I expect the Yankees to come through and take this one on the road.
He opened up the playoffs with a win last year against Shane Bieber. He also opened up the ALDS with a win against the Rays. So Garrett Cole was very good at opening up the playoffs and playoff series for the Yankees last year. He's going to have to do it again, otherwise they're going to be one and done. Next game is the wild card game. We got the Cardinals traveling out to Los Angeles. It's going to be Adam Wainwright versus Max Scherzer. Talking about two of the game's best and most veteran pitchers to contrasting styles of pitching. Scherzer's going to come out at you 95 with the slider and the changeup. Adam Wainwright, he's going to come at you with the curveball and the sinker. Wainwright's been incredible in the second half. Max Scherzer, potential Cy Young Award winner. I don't think he's going to win it, but he's been absolutely incredible as a Dodger. Coming off his worst 2 starts in a Dodgers uniform, but I think the Dodgers are going to be too much for the Cardinals.
Is that it's going to be – I think this is going to be more of a pitching duel because Adam Wainwright has been terrific in the second half. Scherzer has been the best pitcher in the NL in the second half. So I think you're going to see more of a defensive-minded pitching game here, but I'm going to have to take the Dodgers because in the end, that offense is going to be able to put up runs no matter what. So I'm going to take the Dodgers to win this one and advance the NLDS against their rival Giants.
I think they're going to win too. Big developing story is that Max Muncy, he got hurt in today's season finale as the Dodgers were trying to win the division. They think that he's going to be out for a little bit. And also, I think that you're also going to see the impact of Clayton Kershaw. He was going to be coming off an injury. His arm was going to be relatively fresh. Now, all of a sudden, they're not going to be able to depend on him for any innings really at all in this postseason, especially if they lose this game. I really hope the Dodgers lose because then I can say, well, the Padres and Dodgers won the same amount of postseason games this year. Dodger fans can just not make as much fun of the Padres this offseason. They still have a ton of right to do so, but it's definitely been a long season getting ridiculed by them. I hope they lose, but I think they have too much firepower. Watch out for Tyler O'Neill. He's been on a heater of late.
Same with Harrison Bader. You can't forget about him as well.
They've got a lot of good right-handed bats.
Yes,
I think Scherzer's slider is going to be a major factor in this game.
I agree.
And if he's on, which we know he's going to be, I think the Dodgers will win. Let's preview these series individually. We're going to start with the 2 series that we know the 2 teams are going to be. So the 2 and the 3 seed series.
Yeah.
Starting on Thursday, the ALDS between the Chicago White Sox and the Houston Astros is going to begin.
Yep.
Lance McCullers has already been named the Game 1 starter. Chicago, they are yet to name their Game 1 starter for them. And then looking ahead in the series, no one's named their Game 2 starter. So who do you like in this series? Because I know I love the Astros.
Give me the Astros in this one. And I think that when we did our most likely or like most wanted World Series matchups, my top one was Dodgers-Astros. And it's because I think the Astros are going to run away with this series. I think their offense is going to be dynamic. Jose Altuve is playing really well. But I think the main factor for me picking against the White Sox is injuries. Lance Lynn has been on and off the IL. Same with Rodon. Keuchel hasn't been that great throughout the season. But I just think that when it comes down to it, it's going to be a battle between the bullpens. The offenses can match up well. The starting rotations match up pretty well as well. It's going to be the bullpens. And on paper, you would think the White Sox bullpen hasn't. The White Sox bullpen has not been that good in the second half. So I'm going to go with the Astros taking this series.
Yeah, I agree. I love the Astros. I think they have the better starting rotation. I honestly think they have just as good of a bullpen as the White Sox. We've seen Liam Hendricks and Craig Kimbrell not have as good of second halves after their roles were kind of changed, given the addition of Craig Kimbrell, trading Cody Hoyer. He was a big part of the success of the White Sox bullpen early on this year. He gets moved. He hasn't been as good in a Cubs uniform either. I just don't think this White Sox team is as good as people have been giving them credit for. Yasmani Grandal has been great. Luis Robert or Robert, he goes by both. It's really confusing, and I always just get mixed in between them. He's been on a tear of late. I think he's going to be the wild card. He's going to have to show up in the series if the White Sox want any chance at all at knocking off the Houston Astros. But the White Sox, they're a young, hungry team. We get to see Tony La Russa manage this team in the postseason for the first time. I think many would say he did a fine job managing them in the regular season, but
Yeah, he did a fine job. I think there's still a lot of issues. The whole 3-0 thing, I thought that was way overplayed by him. I think that might have taken a hit on the team, but overall, I have to say that I think this White Sox team will be able to take one game in the series for sure.
They definitely can. Let's talk about the NL series that we know is going to happen. Charlie Morton versus Corbin Burnes in Game 1 for the Atlanta Braves and Milwaukee Brewers. Corbin Burnes would be my NL Cy Award pick. Charlie Morton has been very consistent and very good for the Atlanta Braves. And then Game 2, the Brewers haven't named their starter. I mean, it's very easy to assume that they're going to start Brandon Woodruff. And if not, they've got Freddie Peralta out there too. So no really bad option there if you're the Brewers. But the Braves have named Max Fried their starter for this series in Game number 2.
And that shocked me, actually. Really, I thought they were going to go with Max Fried, who's really been on a tear the past couple of weeks, pitching very well. So I really thought that he was going to be the guy to start Game 1, but they gave it to Morton. But I think the series is going to be a good one. Overall, I think it's going to go to the Brewers because they have the better pitching staff. And I think that it's going to be tough to come by against Woodruff, Burnes, Peralta, and even Eric Lauer. Those guys have been able to pitch very well for the Brewers this year. And that offense, I still think, is underrated because they just have guys like Willie Adames and Eduardo Escobar, who they picked up, who really provided a boost to that offense. So I'm going to give this one to the Brewers.
I'm thinking about an Eric Lauer postseason start. And I don't know how I'd feel about that, considering that he was in the Trent Grisham trade.
Yeah.
His funky left-handed delivery, and I mean, he throws 93, 94 with a good slider, solid curveball. It was a good pickup by the Brewers. I knew that when that trade went down, it was a lot closer than people were making it out to be, especially after what happened last year with Zach Davies and then flipping Zach Davies for Yu Darvish. But I didn't expect Eric Lauer to be this good. I didn't expect Luis Urias to be this good, but that's just what the Brewers do. Their player development is really good. That's why they found themselves in a spot having a 95-win season when a lot of people expected them to not even be in the playoffs. That's what these really well-run teams do. Next up, I mean, we both took the Yankees and we both took the Dodgers. Do we think either of these teams are going to knock off the number 1 seed? So, I mean, we'll start because I know how you feel about the Dodgers. Going up against the Giants, how do you feel about them?
Oh, yeah, I think the Dodgers are going to win the series. And it's nothing against the Giants. I just think when you look at both teams on paper and on the field, you look at them, and the Dodgers are a team that is built more for the playoffs. And looking at this series, you're going to have some good pitching. Logan Webb has been an MLB best 10-0 after he started. I believe he was 1-3 on the season. I might be a little bit off on that.
Yeah, he was 1-3.
Okay, but since then, 10-0, MLB best. So I think that's going to be a good matchup, whether it's Scherzer or Buehler Game 1. I think that it's going to be a close series. I really do. But I think that when it comes down to it, it's going to be a battle of the bullpens, and the Dodgers have a better bullpen, in my opinion. And I think the offense is going to be able to put up more runs. Nothing against the Giants and what they've done. They've had an incredible season. Gabe Kapler really deserves NL Manager of the Year. Nobody else gets it. And I think that it's going to be a tough series. I think it's going to go the distance, 5 games in the DS, but I'm going to give this one to the Dodgers.
I think I'm going to do that as well. I'm more confident in the fact that I think the Dodgers are going to win the wild card game against the Cardinals, and I'm just picking them against the Giants here. But very well could see both those things go totally opposite directions. I mean, the Giants, they've been so consistent. But one thing when I look at them, I don't see a lot of postseason experience on the pitching staff. With the lineup, I don't think it makes as big of a difference. But with the pitching staff, every pitch matters. You can't make as many mistakes. We've seen Kevin Gausman not be as good. As of late, had a good start in his last start entering, I think it was against the Padres on Saturday. He only allowed 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings. Obviously, the Padres lineup's been really bad for a long time, but good start nonetheless. You're not going to criticize anyone there. But Logan Webb, no postseason experience. Kevin Gausman, just a little bit with the Braves, and I think maybe even a little bit with the Orioles as well. Anthony DeSclafani, nothing in there with the Cincinnati Reds. So not a lot of postseason experience, a lot of really young arms in that bullpen.
You're forgetting about Johnny Cueto.
and Johnny Cueto, but he's been awful. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine he takes them out as a starter
Oh
in
no,
a postseason series. I don't even know if he's on the roster.
I think he'll be on the roster. I do not see him starting a game. I think he'll be a long relief guy coming out of the bullpen because he's just not been good since signing that contract with him.
Yeah, maybe he's a guy that if one of your starters gets roughed up, you throw him in there and say, all right, Johnny, go give us 3 or 4 innings and keep us in this game, keep the bullpen rested. I think that could be Cueto's role. But they've also been throwing out they threw out Scott Kazmir on Friday night. I know he's not going to be on that postseason roster. I would be shocked if that happens.
I don't know. He looked good against the Padres. He could make it.
He went 4 2/3, only allowed 2 runs. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know if you're saying that to try and like anger me or not, but you're staring right into my eyes,
Yes, I am.
my beautiful eyes.
Is that your mommy?
My mom has said I have beautiful eyes. A lot of acquaintances,
Like who?
like parents, they're like, "Wow, Dom, you have beautiful green eyes." I don't know why we're talking about this.
I don't know how a parent comes up with that. Like, yeah, you have great eyes.
I don't know. Maybe you don't hear that because you don't have great eyes, Ryan.
Well, like, no, I don't have great eyes. That's why I need glasses.
I don't need glasses, so.
Do you want a cookie?
Yeah, I could go for a cookie.
I'll make sure to get you one when you get back to your apartment.
The McDonald's fries that I heated up weren't as good as I anticipated. In fact, they were so stale that I just didn't even eat them. So
Oh,
it was a disappointing lunch in the residency at Park Place. But anyways, postseason baseball. We already talked about it. The National League wildcard game.
yes.
Let's talk about the American League one. Tampa Bay Rays. And we both said the Yankees would defeat the Red Sox. You're gonna get an AL West matchup here. No,
You believe
AL East. Sorry.
Regardless of the result, it's going to be an AL East matchup.
Right. We're both predicting an NL West one out in the National League, but you're guaranteed an American League matchup. You're guaranteed the small ball Rays versus the big market, either Boston Red Sox or New York Yankees.
That is correct.
What do you think is going to happen here? Because I don't think this Blue Jays. Wow, I'm all over the place with these teams here. These Tampa Bay Rays are as good as they were last year. I don't think this rotation's anywhere near as good because they don't have Charlie Morton or Blake Snell. It's a lot of young pitchers, and I think that it could cost them in this postseason.
You know, and that's my thought. It's a much younger pitching staff that has not been as good as it was last year. Last year was a very dominant pitching staff. So, I don't know, but I also think the offense is a lot better. Wander Franco's been on a tear since he's been called up. And then adding Nelson Cruz has also had a great effect on this offense. And then Brandon Lau's been cooking recently. I think this is going to be a close series. But here's the thing. It has been proven throughout this year that the Rays just have the Yankees number. And that's why I'm going to take the Rays in that series.
I think I'm going to take the Yankees. After losing to them in that Game 5 of the DS last year out in San Diego, I think the Yankees are going to come in hungry. The pitching staff, it's not quite as good. The rotation isn't as strong. But I think when you look at it, Garrett Cole, he's going to probably start Game 3 of the series and then maybe come out of the bullpen in Game 5 or maybe start Game 5.
They'll definitely have him available for a Game 5 scenario for sure.
The Rays don't even have Tyler Glass now either.
Yeah, they don't have Glass now. He's hurt. Can I change my pick?
Do you want it?
Yes.
Cool.
I just think that when looking at it, for some reason I was thinking Glass was going to be back, but he's not. And I think that still has an effect. I'm going to go with the Yankees, and my main reason is because of the pitching staff being so young, and they're without their 3 top guys from last year. The offense, I will still agree with, is still better, but it's really going to look like it's going to be more offensive heavy, knowing how it's a weaker pitching staff compared to last year for the Rays. So, and I trust the Yankees offense more than the Rays. So give me the Yankees in this one, but I think this one definitely goes the distance for sure.
I think so too. And it's funny because we're both picking these wildcard teams to win their division series. And I know that both the division series in 2019 regarding the wildcard teams, they went 5 games. The Nationals, they were victorious against the Dodgers. And the Rays, they lost with Glasnow on the mound as he got absolutely pounded by the Houston Astros. So I think that you're going to have really competitive series here. I think that these are the 2 most competitive series, especially not the 2 and 3s. I don't really like either of those matchups. But I think you're going to get really good postseason baseball here out of the wild card teams and out of both of these top seeds
Yeah.
in each league. So that leaves our championship matchups as Houston versus Yankees, which is what it's been, I believe.
That's going to be so electric.
I mean, we had that in 2017, we had it in 2019, and now we're getting it here in 2021. Odd year. So who do you think is going to come out and represent the American League? Because I got this easy. I think it's Houston.
I think it's Houston too.
Which
I hate to say it.
Yes.
And they're even without their best pitcher in Justin Verlander, and they're still this dominant, this good against what proved to be a very competitive AL West division throughout the course of the season. And it's incredible to think that this Houston team, after all the cheating scandal, after injuries, after losing some guys like Springer, they're still this good. And I think they're going to be the representative of the AL. I think they're going to win the pennant.
Yeah. And you talked about it, some of their best pitching. Lance McCullers.
Yes.
Framber Valdez. These are both guys that
young arms have been incredible this year for them.
They can carry a rotation.
Yep.
And they have a lot of swing guys too. We've seen it a lot from them in 2017 and also in 2019. They'll throw starters out of the bullpen because they want their best arms out there. That's what they'll do. Ryan Presley's been one of the best closers in baseball. I think this team's got what it takes to win the pennant.
This team definitely has what it takes. And remember, they have Graveman after they trade for him from the Mariners at the trade deadline.
They do. You're right. And then in the National League side, I mean, you've got the Dodgers and the Brewers. Those are both of our predictions. I don't know what to think of this series because, one, the Dodgers are going to have to get through the Red Hot Cardinals. They're going to have to get through the league best Giants.
Yes.
And then now they're going to have to get through the best rotation of baseball, especially with Kershaw out. I think that when you look at it, Corbin Burns, potential on a Cy Young Award winner, Brandon Woodruff, undisputed top 10 pitcher, and Freddie Peralta, probably the breakout pitcher of the year, him or Robbie Ray. When you look at it, this rotation's unbelievable. They have a really good bullpen.
Who else is a top-tier rotation?
The Dodgers.
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
100%.
And here's the thing. They might have – here's the thing. In this series, the three top Cy Young candidates will be represented. Scherzer and Buehler on the Dodgers, Burns on the Brewers. That's incredible. And I think this is just going to be such a great matchup because you got some dominant pitching in both the starting rotation and bullpen. And then the offense, it's going to favor towards the Dodgers because of that lineup. But that Brewers offense is so sneaky. It's an underrated offense for sure. But when it comes down to getting those key runs, I'm going to have to give it to the Dodgers because they've got Seager, who's red hot, Trey Turner, who's also hot, hopefully Max Muncy, hopefully he's okay, got Betts, Bellinger, Chris Taylor, A.J. Pollock. They've got so many guys. And looking at that lineup, maybe outside of the pitching spot, I don't think there's an easy out on that lineup. I seriously do not think that there's anything close to easy out on that lineup. Maybe Bellinger with how his season has gone, but with a fully healthy Cody Bellinger, we have seen what he's capable of, and he's nowhere close to an easy out. So I'm going to take the Dodgers, but I think this series goes 6 or 7.
I do too. I think this could be one of the best championship series that we've ever seen.
I agree.
When you look at it, these two really strong rotations, very deep lineups that they have platoon guys, so you're going to see a matchup. You're going to throw different lineups out there. And two fairly good bullpens. The Dodgers bullpen doesn't have a ton of postseason experience. When you look at it, Kenley, Trinan, Joe Kelly, those guys, they obviously stand out.
Yeah.
But a lot of the usuals, they aren't there. They've grabbed a lot of guys just off waivers that they've used through their player development that is obviously one of the best in baseball. Alex Vesia, Phil Bickford. Some of these guys have been very key contributors. Justin Brule, he's a lefty. He's been really good. And then the Brewers, I mean, they've always just panned out these guys out of the bullpen. They have the best closer in baseball, Josh Hader. But something that happened this week.
Devin Williams. That is going to be crucial when it comes down to the NLCS without him. Breaking his hand, celebrating. I believe he injured it, hitting a wall. And I think that's going to have an effect. That is another reason why I am going to take the Dodgers because that back end of the bullpen does get weaker without Devin Williams for sure.
It's going to be a great series. I do think the Dodgers end up victorious in it, as much as I would hate to see the Dodgers go back to the World Series for the second straight year and for the fourth time in the past 5 years.
Yep.
But at the same time, if we all see it the same way, they'd be facing the Astros, who are back for the third time, the last 5 years. So a lot of familiar faces here in the postseason, Ryan. We see
I
a
want this.
very familiar World Series matchup.
You don't know how bad I want this series. I think it would be incredible for baseball. It would be electric. I want this series so bad.
A lot of bad blood would be in the
Oh.
series. You're also going to be looking at the last time that Carlos Correa probably suits up in Houston Astros uniform, as he's going to be an impending free agent. A lot of other Dodgers. They're going to be
Scherzer and Stenson.
Scherzer has only been a Dodger for 2 months.
But also, I don't think Scherzer's leaving. I don't think they'll let Scherzer leave.
Stop. We don't want to talk about that.
What was that noise that you just made?
That was my frustration noise. That
But here's the thing.
that Scherzer could be a Dodger for the rest of his career.
It will be the best World Series that we have seen in such a long time if these two teams match up. The bad blood pending from all those years ago. And you still got last year with Joe Kelly striking out Correa, then making the face. That led to more bad blood.
He also did throw out Correa.
Well, that was later on. But first.
No, it was in the same at bat.
In a bat?
Yeah, he threw a curveball over his head and he struck him out because
because
he was so far up his head because he threw at him.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't the first pitch the curveball that went over his head?
Yes.
Okay, and then he went on to strike him out. Okay, so I was right. For some reason, I doubted myself. But the bad blood is there. And I think that is what will drive this series. And give me the Dodgers. I think they are more determined than anyone else. If that series comes to fruition, they want revenge. I believe they take it. And your comments on a Mickey Mouse ring last year will be gone. Oh, sorry, ring pop ring.
It is a ring pop. I mean, it's just not as legit.
Well, guess
they
what?
played 100 less games in the regular season.
They'll get their legit one this year.
And listen, everyone was on the same playing field that year, so they deserve the championship. But that championship doesn't deserve to be discussed in the same right as the other championships. They played 100 less games that season.
Well, let me tell you this.
All other seasons.
They'll get the real one this year, as you say.
Yeah, I mean, if they win this World Series, then it's a real ring. Like, there's no other way around that.
My prediction is they do get it.
I don't. I think the Astros. I think they're world champs.
Really?
I believe in this team a ton. I think that this lineup is the best in baseball.
Oh,
I think their rotation is very good, and I think their bullpen's deep too. Dusty Baker, I think, can pull the strings. We've seen Dave Roberts every other postseason. He's found ways to mess up and lose games. I think he's going to come back to it this year with arms that are a little bit more tired. He's going to let them ride a little bit longer than he should, and it's going to cost him like it didn't cost him last year.
I'm surprised we agreed this far, Dom. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, we agreed on every single series.
Besides the World Series, I think that this is a series that the MLB wants more than anything else, just because of the viewership will be insanely high.
Yeah, I mean, Dodgers-Yankees is always way up there.
Oh, it's always there, but you've always got that bad blood, the history between these two teams.
I don't think there's that much history. I think it's just the bad blood between these two teams.
I count that as
because the history really dates back 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, when I think of history, I think Dodgers-Yankees. I think Yankees-Red Sox.
Yeah.
I think
that's
Dodgers-Giants. I think Cardinals-Cubs. That's where I think of history, not Astros-Dodgers, the Astros who really weren't relevant until the turn of the century. Well, I mean, they had good teams late in the 90s. They went to the World Series in 2006. So
yeah, you're right.
But yeah, they hadn't won a championship until 2016.
What I mean by history, I mean everything that happened that led to the bad blood. I should have phrased that better for you. But I think this is the series that everyone wants. And I think it's going to be the series that everyone gets.
I agree. So it's going to be a cool, fun postseason. We still got 15 minutes left here on the Golden Sombrero Show on BlazeRadioOnline.com. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. And after that, we're going to give our award winners now that the season is done. We're going to look at it now that we're not going to predict anything that's going to happen for the rest of the year. Brian and I are just going to give our quick case for our MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and Coach of the Year. We'll be right back on the Golden Sombrero Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Replay value's bad. Our music shows can. We review albums every Tuesday night. 7 p.m. Blaze Radio Online. Louisiana, you're listening to Blaze Radio, live from the Bill Austin studio. Tune in on BlazeRadioOnline.com. Ooh, yeah.
Welcome back to the Golden Sombrero Show. I'm Dominic Stern, joined by Ryan Blank, here to talk about the latest in baseball. If you just missed it, we talked about our World Series and playoff predictions. Ryan and I, we both agreed that the Dodgers would face off against the Astros in the World Series, a nice 2017 World Series rematch. We were one game away from getting that last year as well. Ryan picked the Dodgers. I picked the Astros. You can watch our full playoff breakdown. It's going to be on YouTube, Ryan Blank's YouTube page. You can search it for Golden Sombrero Show playoff predictions.
And the logo will be my dashing face in a nice checkered shirt for my senior photos. That was when I didn't really need my glasses as much then. That's when I was much skinnier, much better looking.
Yeah, I was about to say dashing isn't really the word I would use to describe you, but
Hey,
go
back
for it.
then you could say it. Not now.
Sure. Anyways, we're going to talk about our awards now that the season's over. Let's talk about the one that doesn't involve players. Let's talk about Coach of the Year. Who do you have as your AL Manager of the Year? Because I think this is the one where there's truly like a debate.
There is truly a debate with this one, but I think it's Dusty Baker.
Mm-hmm.
I really got to give it to Dusty Baker. Good division with the A's, the Mariners, almost said Marlins, the Mariners, and even the Angels throughout the season. So I really think that he deserves it. What he has done over his career has been his 8th division crown, if I'm not mistaken, over his career. And he has continued, after everything that happened with the Astros, he has continued to keep them relevant and as one of the best teams in the AL and the entire MLB. Give it to Dusty Baker.
So I'm going to give it to another coach in that division. I'm going to go with Scott Service.
I want to give it to him, but I just don't think I can. I want to so bad.
Coach of the Seattle Mariners. I mean, they're only 5 games back from the Astros when it was all said and done. When you consider the talent on those two teams, I mean, it's very clear that the Astros are the far superior team. And I think the Astros, a lot of people expected them to win probably around 90 to 95 games. That's exactly what they did. But the Mariners, a lot of people expected them to go sub 500 and say, all right, next year is their year. And while I don't think that those people are wrong by saying next year is their year, they went 90-72 in a good division that is 3 teams above 500. The 4th place team is 77-85, which is only second. Yeah, which is only second behind the Toronto Blue Jays in terms of 4th place team. So you're looking at one of the best divisions in baseball here in the American League West.
Yeah.
The Mariners, they were able to go 90-72. They had a negative 51 run differential, which means they got outscored by 50 runs, but they're still able to go 90-72. And why do you think that was able to be true? It's because Scott Service was pulling the right strings at the right time, putting themselves in position to win.
They were always able to win those close games. The close games is where the Mariners really found themselves. Like last night, Jared Walsh made it 4-3, and then you see Mitch Haniger come up and gets the 2-run single, and that's how they do it. They come up big in those late moments, and they win those close games. I'd love to see it go to Scott Service. I just don't think he'll get it. I think he'll go Dusty Baker, but I would be completely happy, and I actually would prefer Scott Service get it over Dusty Baker.
I think everyone would like that because I think everyone would like to not give the Astros any credit for what they've done, but they definitely deserve a lot of credit. They did cheat to get their World Series, but they're not cheating anymore, at least to our knowledge. So, NL Rookie of the Year, I think it's Jonathan India. Oh, wait, no, sorry. National League Manager of the Year, we're going to agree. It's Gabe Kapler. Manager of the San Francisco Giants, exceeded all expectations, finished with the best record in baseball. I think anyone who disagrees is a fool. Sucks for Craig Counsell that he's not going to get it because I think Peter told me that the Brewers would win 95 games this year, win the division, it would probably go to him, but I just don't see a way that's true. It's going to go.
Top candidates there, but it's got to go to Gabe Kapler.
It's been incredible over there. NL Rookie of the Year, I think it's still going to be Jonathan India, even though the Reds, they didn't end the season that well. They ended up outside of the playoff picture. They went over 500, though. They had one of the best offenses in baseball, and I think a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that Jonathan India was a standout rookie for them. Now, the AL Rookie of the Year race is definitely a lot closer. We talked about it with Cole, and there's really a lot of guys that we could go with. Who is your American League Rookie of the Year? Well, so my pick is actually Ryan Mountcastle because he has 33 home runs. That's right there on par with Adolis Garcia, but the batting average, the OBP, the slugging percentage is higher for Mountcastle. I think that he's overshadowed just because he's on the team that will be picking first. That was something that was confirmed when the Arizona Diamondbacks walked off their win on Sunday afternoon. So they ended up. Are you really that surprised though? No, no. It's well, a lot of the players seem to like him. So you know, gotta feel out the clubhouse. We don't know stuff that goes on within the Diamondbacks, and I don't think Lovullo is really the reason why. But so we're split here on the American League awards. So let's go to Cy Young. Who do you think is going to win? I really think it's a two-horse race between Robbie Ray and Garrett Cole. Who do you have? Yeah, 3-2-3 and 2-8-4. Yeah, it's crazy because he led the National League in walks last year, and he pitched the last month of the season on an American League team. Now he's going to win the American League Cy Young. I agree. He's got a better ERA than Garrett Cole. He's got a better whip than Garrett Cole. And he's only slightly behind him in terms of strikeouts per 9 inning. Now, when you look at it, Garrett Cole, he had a couple more starts. But Robbie Ray, he also led the American League in innings pitched. So he's working deep into games. He was healthy all year. No starter in the American League reached 200 innings. So that kind of surprised me a little bit. But 193, and then Barrios is right behind him at 192. I do too. It's crazy because his odds at the beginning of the year were, I think, plus 7,000, and he's going to win it. So that's crazy. It is value. I know someone who had him at plus 7,000. So Max Lane. Uh, he's got a lot of money on him. All right. NL Cy Young Award winner. I know I have my pick. Who do you have? I think it's going to be Corbin Burns. I think when you look at it, the peripherals say that Corbin Burns was the much better pitcher. His defense behind him just wasn't slightly as good. He got a little bit unlucky in terms of things. Only allowed solo home runs primarily throughout the season. Only one home run with runners on base, and that came in his last start, which only lasted 2 innings against the Dodgers. They were just trying to, yeah, it was on Saturday. They're just trying to keep him rested for the playoffs. I think Corbin Burns was incredible. I think he's going to win this. He led the league in strikeouts per 9 and ERA, so he's striking batters out, and he's also not allowing runs. Scherzer does have him on the whip, but Scherzer allowed more runs than him, so I'm going to give it to Corbin Burns, but if Max Scherzer wins it, I wouldn't be too upset. AL MVP is going to be Shohei Ohtani. You and I both agree on that. Yes, you are. We don't need to go into the reasons behind that. National League MVP, here's where it gets really interesting because you really think it's Harper. I think it's going to be Juan Soto. Bryce Harper had a chance to get his team in the playoffs. He struck out 7 times in that 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves. And a part of the main reason why Harper has been in that conversation is because he propelled his team into a playoff race. But when his team needed him the most, he kind of let them down. Juan Soto, his team sucks. It's not his fault. He's hitting .315 with a .467 OBP, 177 OPS plus, also while being in the top 90% or being in the top 10% of outfielders defensively. All right, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Gold Sombrero Show. When we come back to you, not sure if we're going to be in here next Sunday as there's some things going on with Blaze Radio. When we come back, we'll continue to update you on what's going on in the postseason. On behalf of Ryan Blank and I guess Cole Bradley, who couldn't make it with us today, thank you for listening to the Golden Sombrero Show. Up next is the College Basketball Bonanza with myself and Nicholas Hodel. Thank you all.